Hey there, this is KG with Fairfax Realty in Greenbelt, where we help buyers to buy their dream home and sellers to sell their houses. So today I'm talking about solar panel. Is it actually worth investing in solar panel? Should you buy or try to lease on a panel? What is the difference? And then what is actually the difference in your bills once you get a solar panel? So that's what I'm going to talk to Mike about today. But guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and drop me a comment when you get a chance. So Mike is one of my past clients, and he has installed solar panel for more than 6 or 7 years right now. And so he can tell me, we can discuss about different option of solar panel. So Mike, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Mike. Mike, so do you remember like how long you've installed your solar panel?
Let's see, about 2012, 2013. So about going on almost 8 years ago now.
Almost 8 years, yeah.
Yep.
So before you installed the solar panel, you were in the house for how many years before you installed the solar panel?
About a year.
About
Yep.
a year.
Yeah, it
Okay,
was
so
something I thought about as soon as I bought the house because the roof just had such a great southern exposure to the sun that I immediately started researching as soon as I actually owned the house. So it took about a year and a half to actually get it done. But
okay. So then we can kind of actually talk of the difference between your bill before you install and then your bill after you install. But Mike, what route did you go when you're installing your solar panel? Did you go through the route of leasing or the other route?
yeah, I researched this quite a bit, whether I would want to lease or pay a contractor to install a system that I bought. But when I did more research, I figured out that there was some really great companies where they make it really simple to do yourself, and that's what I ended up doing, and saved thousands of dollars. It was unbelievable.
Okay.
I could talk about that a little bit more, but we can ask me some more questions first if you want to move on a little bit.
Okay, so what you said is instead of leasing from all this company that comes and knock on your door to lease for 30 years or whatever, you went the route of actually purchasing the panel and installing it. Tell me a little bit how you did that.
Yeah, so what solar power is basically, you have panels that take sunlight and turn it into DC electricity. And from there, you need to convert that into alternating current because that's what we use in our houses. So if you purchase them from a company that's going to install them, they're going to charge you somewhere around $20,000 for the system and installing it. It's a kind of a complicated procedure depending on what kind of roof you have and a lot of other factors. But what I did come to find out is that it really isn't that difficult to do with the technology that they have out now. So instead of having an electrical contractor come in and actually tie this system directly into your panel, you can simply buy this inverter box, which allows you to just take a plug and plug it into your wall, like just a regular old plug, and the energy goes right into your system that way. So therefore, you're cutting out thousands of dollars that you need to pay an electrician to do that part. So that's what I found. I found a company called PluggedSolar.com and ended up purchasing my system. I had to look it up because I couldn't remember, but it was $2,700 for a 1.5 kilowatt system.
Wow.
$2,700. Now, it cost me a little bit extra to get some permits. A lot of time. I must say, I did spend a lot of time down at the permitting office in PG County because I was learning this whole process along the way. I had to pay an architect to do some architectural drawings, but in the end, it costed me somewhere around $3,500. And then once I did all the credits, I ended up getting, I forget that, I couldn't find that in my notes, but I think somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000 back. So now you're down to like $1,500 around that the system cost me. And this time later, it's already paid for itself. I own it. The energy is mine. Whatever excess energy I give it back to TEPCO, and they credit me for it. So it's one thing that you don't really hear about that much.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So you bought a panel, bought the inverters, research, and at the end of the day, because I was thinking it's probably going to be about 30,000, 40,000. But at the end of the day, you're saying by the time you finish your installation, about $3,500?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I did the installation myself too. So I was up on my roof. I was drilling the holes. Again, it really wasn't that hard. Like if you have some skills, you just need to measure out, drill your holes, and you install the rack. And then the system that they sell, that everything just snapped right in. You run the cable down the side of your house, and you just literally plug it into your wall, and it's that simple. And
Wow.
yep. Yeah, so I think honestly, the permitting process and getting all that in order and the time I spent on that was much more painful than installing the panels. Actually, I ended up installing the panels before I was even had the permits because I didn't know how much I had to do. So for a while, I was actually generating electricity, and as long as I used it, it was fine. But I wasn't getting credited for the excess because you need to have Pepco come in and install a special meter that says, okay, well, either we're giving you electricity or you're giving it back to us, and then it rolls the meter back, so you get credits. So for several months, I was giving them free electricity during peak hours on a clear day, that I wasn't using. So I have to admit that was definitely the harder part. But I shared all my info with the company, plugsolar.com, because they were really helpful. And I'm like, look, here's all what the work I did. So if anybody in my area wants this information, please feel free to share it with them. Because it's more than just saving money to me. It's about the environment. It's about changing our diet of energy. And it's just, I think it's really important to see these panels go on roofs. It's such an untapped source of energy that's there all the time. It's just sad that we don't have, people should know about this Plug Solar stuff.
You said, what is that website? You said plugsolar.com?
That's it. Yep. And there's a couple other ones. That's the one I went with. If you just do plug in solar, do a Google search on that, and you'll see several companies pop up. Yeah, so I mean, some of these, like Solar City, some of the bigger ones, they're trying to change the laws to make this much more difficult. I kind of, like they're like, well, you have to have professional people install it and all that. They're just really, at least, this is the research I did years ago. I don't know what ended up happening with that. I did quickly go to their website just to see if they're still there, and they are. And they've actually got even bigger, better products now, and they have a backup battery system. So if the electricity goes off, like, because you lose power in the neighborhood, I can't use my system. It automatically shuts off.
Okay.
And that's the case if somebody actually comes to work on the power lines and they think the power's off and I'm generating power, I can electrocute them.
Yes.
So that's a safety feature that was sold with the system that shuts it off. But now they have a feature that if it goes off, it'll switch and go to a battery backup system that your house will run off until the power goes back on. It's kind of like the Tesla Powerwall.
Yeah.
But Plug Solar is selling something similar, again, like at a fraction of the cost of what they're trying to sell to these big companies. So I think I looked at a similar system that I had, and I think with that power bank, it was up to like, I think close to 4,000. But
that's
still totally reasonable. And you get the power. So if the power goes out, your refrigerator's still going to stay on for, as long as the battery will last, probably a day or two, depending on how much you put energy. But, as soon as it gets clear again, you start charging that battery again, regardless of whether the power is out or not.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Because, people that do the leasing, that the Sunrun or whatever, Tesla, sometimes they will charge, I've seen bills of $150, $120 per month to them for the lease. And then they still pay Pepco or BGE, But one thing that you said is you still get credit because there's credit, right? You get credit from the government?
Yep. Yeah, it depends state by state. There's state credits that vary, and there's federal credits. So I got them both. That's why I ended up totaling. I'm not sure what Maryland's given now. I think they still are giving a credit. But that, state by state, you'd have to research that a little bit more to find out what's right for you. But I mean, even, I installed these on the roof because I don't have much room, but they also sell a rack mount system where you put them in your backyard. And that is very simple. I mean, you literally just set them up, plug it in the wall. Yeah. And then you don't need the permits for your roof and stuff like that. So something like that, if you have the space in your yard to set them up, I highly recommend that. Really, really makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Okay. That's, because that means you own it by yourself and you don't need to pay lease. Okay. So solar, like you said, solar is clean energy, and we really need to protect the environment, and then save money. So it's solar. But then what about the bills? Tell me the difference in what you're seeing.
I mean, it's hard to assess something like that because of things like weather, time of year. But what I can tell you is, it's hard to say an actual monetary value. I'd say probably on average is saving anywhere between $20 to $100-something on a monthly bill. And that comes down to time of year, how much sun you actually had. So, I kind of figured out probably over a year saving several $100s. So that basically comes up to a few $1,000s every few years, and that pays for the panels. But again, it's cleaner energy that you're producing, so that's better. And I have a smaller system. You can buy bigger systems. Like if I were to install the next step up from what I had, I think my bill would have gone close to zero for most of the months of the year. And I do like September, October, and into November, I don't have an electricity bill. I basically pay the $20-$30 just fees that you have to pay for having power.
Yeah.
But like June, July, August, I have a pool and you're running air conditioning, so that's a big hog.
Yeah.
But I still net energy between 11 and 2, like when the sun's really strong on a clear day, even though I'm still cranking a lot of energy, I still give energy back to the system. And those are peak hours where they charge you more for electricity. So that kind of stuff, I really see those credits kind of work out. But yeah, it's kind of hard to say, but anywhere between 20 to over $100 per month, I'd say, is what I'm saving.
So then when looking at investment wise, will you say it's actually a good investment to invest in solar for your house?
I definitely think so. I mean, especially since mine have by far already paid for themselves. So basically, I have solar energy now. I didn't pay anything for it anymore, and I get cheaper bills. So yeah, I think especially and then over time, the panels are good for 20 years. Actually, I want to say 30, but I know 20 years before they start to degrade. So like, really, you're just gonna keep saving money until towards the end, and then maybe when you reinvest again, the money you save would go back into it. But yeah, I definitely think it's good.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure by that time, more sophisticated technology will be out too. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is a good thing. Remember we spoke a few years ago, and I was considering doing solar, and that's when you told me you actually installed it yourself, but I wasn't actually sure that this plug-in solar. So this is good. Thank you, Mike. So guys.
Yeah.
I hope you get solar like Mike gets solar, but if you cannot install it yourself, because guys, Mike is technical, right? Mike, you're very technical and you know all this stuff, but some people don't know it. What are you gonna do, right?
Yeah. I mean, I thought you could still do the plug solar, and you could probably just hire a handyman to do the roof installation, which would maybe cost another $1,000, a couple $1,000, but you're still well below the $30,000 that an independent company would charge you. So I seriously, if you're thinking about solar power, I highly recommend that you look into these plug solar type systems before you decide what you want to do. For some people, just leasing out the roof, it's the least amount of hassle. You're doing is good for the environment. And if that makes sense for you, then yes, do it for sure. If you have the money to pay a contract, you don't want to deal with it. Yes, in general, I support solar power 100%, and I just would like to see more people do it. I mean, there's just so many rooftops that really should have solar power on them. It would just help everything else so much. So highly recommend it.
Yeah, the environment. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Guys, plug-in solar better than lease solar, but like Mike said, make sure you do your research before you sign into lease for years to come, because I've seen that sometimes people are hesitant when they want to buy a house. If there's already a lease, they're hesitant to buy that house because they're getting into a contract with lease. But if you have plug-in solar, hey, that's an additional
you own it.
Yep. Thank you, Mike. So guys, please subscribe to the channel to get more updates once we upload new video. Until next time, thank you so much, Mike. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.